Guten Tag alle, Herr Wallis hier. Heute wir werden ein paar Übungen mit dem Perfekt machen. Today we're gonna do a few exercises with the perfect tense. The perfect tense can be divided into the present perfect or the past perfect, depending upon really whether you're using the present tense of the helping verb haben or sein or the past tense of the helping verb haben or sein. This is just one of a series of videos over the perfect tense in German. So if you find that this is a little too complicated for you, go back and review our other videos over the perfect tense, where we go into each rule a little bit more in detail. So we're going to start off by talking about how to form the past participle. Remember, for the perfect tense, you're going to have a helping verb or auxiliary verb and a past participle. And in normal sentence structure in German, this past participle will be located at the end of the sentence, but we'll get to that in a moment. First, here I have a list of German verbs in their infinitive forms. So we are going to just go down the list here and explain the past participle of each and why that is. So our first verb is reparieren, reparieren. So this means to repair. And if you'll notice, this verb ends in ieren. When a verb ends in ieren in German, to form the past participle, you do not add a ge to the front like you would in many cases, but you drop the en and you get what's called the stem of the verb, reparier, and we add a t to it, so it's repariert. So for example, I have repaired the car. Ich habe das Auto repariert. Klopfen is a verb that means to knock. So we're going to drop the en off and we'll have our root of this verb, which is klopf. And this one is a regular weak verb in German. So it's going to follow the rules for regular weak verbs. And that is, it's going to take a ge on the front, ge, and then it's adding a t at the end, so you have geklopft. So if you want to say, I've knocked on the door, ich habe an die Tür geklopft. Okay? Bezahlen, it means to pay in German. Be is an inseparable prefix in German. So what this means when you form the past participle is you do not add the ge to the front. So you're just going to add the t, similar to number one, bezahlt. Hören is a regular verb, so it's going to follow the rules, and that is a ge on the front, ge, and then a t at the end, gehört. Ich habe das nicht gehört. I haven't heard it. Ausmachen. Aus is a separable prefix in German. So when you form the past participle, this ge is going to be placed between the prefix aus and the rest of the verb mach, or the root of the verb mach, and then the t at the end to have ausgemacht. And it means to turn off. So for example, ich habe das Licht ausgemacht. I have turned the light off. Anmachen, to turn on. Again, a separable prefix verb. So angemacht. Ich habe das Licht angemacht. Verkaufen. Verkaufen means to sell. You might be familiar with the verb kaufen, which is to buy. So there's also nouns formed from these. The Verkäufer is the salesman, for example. But the Ver here is an inseparable prefix in this verb. So when we form the past participle, we're not going to use the ge. We're just going to say verkauft. Ich habe mein Auto verkauft. I have sold my car. Arbeiten. When you have a verb and you take the en off and it ends in t or d, you're going to add an extra e before the t at the end. So that's what we do here. Gearbeitet. Ich habe den ganzen Tag gearbeitet. I have worked the whole day. Informieren is another verb, just like Nummer 1, reparieren. When a verb ends in ieren, just add the t, informiert. Brauchen is to need. So we want to form the past participles, just gebraucht. Schauen is to watch. Geschaut. Haben. Gehabt. Sagen. Gesagt. Sagen is to say or tell. Wohnen is to live in a place. Don't be confused in German. They have two verbs for live. We only have live in English. So wohnen is when you're talking about where you live in a place, and leben is to be alive. So that's a source of confusion for some Americans. Gewohnt. Ich habe in Berlin gewohnt. Bauen, to build. Ich habe ein Haus gebaut. Zerstören. Zer is a inseparable prefix in German. Zerstören means to destroy. For example, the word for a destroyer, the ship destroyer in English, is zerstöre. So the past participle here is zerstört. Godzilla hat die Stadt zerstört. Okay. Zustimmen. Zustimmen is to agree to. So zu is a separable prefix. So we're going to put the g between that and the rest of the stem of the verb. Zugestimmt. Und erzählen. Is also an inseparable prefix on verbs when you see it, so you can't put a GE in those verbs. You just say erzählt, which means to explain or talk about. Okay. So we're going to try some German to English here to see if you understand it. Hast du ein Auto gekauft? So literally it's have you a car bought, but when we translate this over to English, we're going to say have you bought a car. We're going to use English word order, which is different from English word order in the perfect tense because the English does not put bought at the end, whereas the German would. Ich habe gehört, dass du Deutsch sprechen kannst. Okay, so here we have ich habe gehört. That's gehört is the past participle here. And we're using a subordinating conjunction, das, which is going to affect the word order of the clause after it. Normal word order there is du kannst Deutsch sprechen. But because we have an inseparable, a subordinating conjunction rather, that verb will jump to the end. Hat Deutsch gelernt? Has he learned German? Wir haben in Berlin gewohnt. We have lived in Berlin. Und hast du ein Haus gebaut? Have you built a house? Have you built a house? Okay. So here we're going from English to German as a final exercise. If you want to try it on your own, do so. And then I'll give you the answers. Nummer 1. Ich habe gelernt, dass Herr Wallace Deutsch sprechen kann, yeah? So I've learned that Mr. Wallace can speak German. What have I done? In German there are two verbs for to do. There's machen and there's tun. The past participle of machen is gemacht, and tun is what they refer to maybe as an irregular verb or a strong verb. So it's not getut, it's just getan. So it's a little bit different in the past participle. Was habe ich gemacht? Or you could say, was habe ich getan? Have you sold the house? Remember, sell is verkaufen and kaufen is to buy. So, hast du das Haus verkauft? Und she has repaired the car. Sie hat das Auto repariert. What has he bought? Was hat gekauft? I have not heard that. Ich hab das nicht gehört. Und I have turned the radio off. We're going to use ausmachen, separable prefix verb. Ich habe das Radio ausgemacht. Und has he lived in Atlanta? Hat in Atlanta gewohnt? So, ich hoffe, dass das ein bisschen geholfen hat. Vielen Dank für das Zuschauen und Zuhören.